This is a quick video to show how to create a digital blur frame in Topaz Studio by Sharon from Sharon Co Images. This method of digitally framing your artwork will involve 2 or 3 layers. So if we start with our image, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Textures. In this adjustment, I'm going to select the Borders group. And from that, I'm going to select the clean. And I want a simple white border, but we need to choose a black one for a start. And we will invert that so the black one becomes white. But we will also need to change our blending mode to lighten. And we're going to bump that up. Now I just want the plain one. And I want the border to be a little thinner than that. So if I go to edit, what I can do is I can essentially increase it. And so I have my border around my frog. And I just want it quite thin. Now, you might want to unlock the aspect so the top and bottom are the same. So we can just increase that a little bit. And I think that looks quite good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that. Now back to our original image, and we're going to reset that. So now we're going to create the background, which is going to be a blur of our image. Now I have created a preset, so if we type in frame, you'll see that there are 4 here, and we're going to use frame D, which is our blurred background. So if we select that, this preset has a blurs adjustment, which has the Gaussian blur with a 0.8 amount applied to it, and it also has a basic adjustment in which the exposure has been reduced and the saturation's been bumped up a little bit. So we're going to then apply. So we create a layer of this blur. And we're going to go back to our original image. And we'll reset it. And we're going to use frame B, which is a drop shadow. Now, it might not be overly effective on this particular image, but it will be effective on other images. So I'll show you the process. So we'll select frame B, which is the drop shadow. And we will apply that. So we now have our frog with a white frame around it. We have our blurred background and we have a drop shadow. So choosing our background layer, so our blurred layer, we're going to drag and drop our white framed image on top of that. And we're going to edit that and reduce its size so we can see the background. And we want to center that like so. And then we go. But we can also here add in our drop shadow. Now we want this drop shadow to be the same size as our original frog image. So we can move it until we can see the edge of it. And we can move the top down. And it should now cover it. But it's a drop shadow, so we need to move it down and to the right. And we'll move that up so it's behind our image. We need to change our blend mode to multiply. Now in this case, because we've got such a dark background, you can hardly see the drop shadow. What you would also do is change the opacity of this shadow a little bit so it's not so stark, to about 50%. And there we go, we have a framed frog. So a review, have your image, then go to frame. We're going to select frame D, which gives us a blurred background, and we will apply this. Back to our original image, we'll reset and apply frame B, which is our drop shadow, and apply and reset our original image. We can go to texture, choose borders, choose clean. We want the simple black one, which is this one here, which we will change to white, and set our blending mode to lighten and ensure the opacity is at 1. And we want to change the size of that so we can edit, unlock the aspect and move it so you just see the frame size that you want. And we will also apply that. So we now have our 3 components. We have our background blur, which you need to be on, and we have our image with a white border around it, which we want to drag and drop on top of this blurred image. And we want to edit that so we can expose the background, and you want to center this. Once we've done that, we will drag and drop our drop shadow, and we need to edit it so it sits at the same size as our image. So move it down so you can see it, and then move it back up so it fits. And again, it's a drop shadow, so you need to move it down and to the right. And we need to move that above our image. We have a drop shadow there. I would change the blending mode to multiply, and I would reduce the opacity down to about 50%. And there we go, we have our image mounted, if you like, on a blurred background.